Hello, welcome to the Cloud Factory. My name is Sandy, I'm your sewing guru, and today I'm going to teach you how to make the basic pattern of a sleeve that you can transform into any other sleeve design you want. Before to make your sleeve pattern, obviously you need to make the back and the front patterns for your top, because the sleeve pattern is based on the armhole lines and lengths of your top patterns. For this video, I'm going to use the basic patterns. So I'm going to get a basic sleeve pattern to be a part of the set of basic patterns, so you can transform it all into any garment that match the requirements of the armholes we already have. But for some garments, you are going to need to change the armhole of the basic patterns. For example, some dresses, it has a longer armhole line. So in case you need to change the armhole length to make the dress you are making, the first thing you need to do is change whatever you have to change in the armholes. And once you transform the armholes of your patterns, then you can proceed to make the pattern of your sleeve for that specific garment. So considering that information, here I have my patterns. These are basic patterns. Here I have the back and the front, and I'm going to use it to trace my sleeve. If you want to know how to make these patterns, I'm giving you the link in the description box below this video so you can see that class and make your own. So here I have the paper where I'm going to make my pattern. A sleeve pattern usually has the back part of the sleeve in the left side of the paper and the front part of the sleeve in the right side of the paper. So considering this, I am going to trace the sleeve in that way, folding the paper by the middle line like this. Fold it well, because the folded line of your paper is going to be the central line of your sleeve. Keep the folded side of the paper near to you so you will be tracing your pattern in the right side of the paper. We are going to make a full sleeve, so be sure your paper is long enough for it. The average sleeve is about 50 or 53 centimeters. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to mark here the top point of my sleeve. And I'm going to square a line, an horizontal line, considering the vertical folded of my paper in this way. And this is going to be the top line of my sleeve. Now, from this line downwards, I'm going to mark the sleeve cap length. I'm going to make a medium one because I'm making a basic pattern for a sleeve, but you can make it as long as you want or as you need. I'm going to explain you more about this at the end of this video. But for now, I'm going to make a basic one. I'm going to need the front pattern of my top. Measure the distance between the 2 points of my armhole, the shoulder and the armpit point. I have 21. I'm going to divide it by 3. In my case is 7, the third part, and I'm going to take 2/3 parts of this line as a measure for my sleeve cap. Mark it here and square another line there in that point. Now mark from the top line downwards the length of the full sleeve. In my case is 53. Just measure the length from your shoulder to your wrist, and there mark the length on your pattern and square another horizontal line. This line is going to be the baseline of our sleeve. Now the next step is in this line, in the baseline of the curve, I'm going to mark the sleeve width. This is a forever doubt of many of you, and it's also one of the keys to make a perfect sleeve, because depending on this measurement is that our sleeve it will match or not when we sew it to the armhole of our garment. So what I'm going to do to get a perfect way is measure the 2 armhole curves of my patterns. Take your measuring tape and start measuring like this, running the measuring tape along the curve, holding it, hold it, hold it, measure in centimeters. When you finish, put your finger there, hold it in that measurement. For me it's 24.5 centimeters. Now from that point, continue measuring the back armhole curve. So this is going to give us the full armhole measurement of our garment. Note it here for me is 49.5. I'm going to divide it by 2, means I'm going to take half of that measurement. For me is 24.75. Now I'm going to reduce 4.5 centimeters and I'm going to get 20.25 centimeters. This is going to be the width of my sleeve and I'm going to mark it in this line. Now here in the top line, mark 1 centimeter. And here in the bottom line of the sleeve, I'm going to mark the half of my hand measurement. To take that measurement, just close your hand like this, hold the measuring tape, and pass it around your hand in this way. Take the measurement and mark the half of that measurement here. Now join this point with this, with a straight line, and this point with this one. Divide this line, take the measurement and divide it by 3 and mark the third part. In the first one from top, I'm going to square a line outside. In this one, I'm going to square a line inside, only for reference, because it helps me to get the middle point visually of this space. So mark the middle point and square a line inside also. Here I'm going to mark 2 centimeters. And in this one, 1 centimeter. Now I'm going to join these 5 points with my French curve to trace the curve of my sleeve. First, these 2 points. Then these 2 points. And then these 3 points. Change the position of your curve like this. And there you have the front side of your sleeve. Means the part of the sleeve who has to be stitched to the front pattern of your top. Now in this one, in this line, in this point, I'm going to mark 8 millimeters outside. In this one, 5 millimeters higher. And in this one also. This is to trace the curve for the back side of the sleeve and join the points in the same way we did for the front curve of the sleeve. Now this line is the back curve and the previous one is the front curve. We are going to cut our pattern by the external line of the curve, obviously, and then all the contour we traced. And there you have your full pattern. Now I'm going to cut by this line, the internal line of the curve, which is the front curve line of the sleeve, because obviously this is the front side of the sleeve, so I want to keep this line for it. Write the information on your pattern and make a small mark here by cutting a little triangle to identify the front part of the sleeve when cutting the fabric. Now, do you remember we measured these armholes together of my top patterns to make the sleeve? It gave me 49.5 centimeters length of the full armhole. Keep that measurement in mind, and now we are going to measure the full curve of my sleeve. Do it also in centimeters in the same way we measure the armholes. We are going to check if this measurement match with the length of my armholes, because obviously this curve is going to be stitched to the armholes in the garment. Here I have 51 centimeters. 51. And because this part of the sleeve is going to be stitched to the back armhole and this part of the sleeve curve is going to be stitched to the front armhole, I'm going to need these two measurements, this one and this one, to match. In my case, the armholes together are 49.5 centimeters and my curve of the sleeve is 51. I only have 1 centimeter and a half of difference. That is perfect, and that is what you want to aim to achieve in your sleeve. You need to have 1.5 centimeters, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters as much as a difference, so you can adjust the sleeve better when you are stitching. If you get the same measurement in both or a smaller sleeve, then it will be a problem. Now, the only thing you need to do is, you stitch the shoulders together in a garment, so match the center of the sleeve with the shoulder seam and start sewing or stitching from the central point to every side of the sleeve. In that way, is going to match because of the shape of the curves, but if you get an excedent here, just trim it, don't worry, it must be an excedent about half centimeter, so it will be no problem if that is the case, but you are not going to have any problem with 1.5 centimeters of difference. Actually, that is the perfect difference for the sleeve and the armhole. Now, if you are really concerned about the sleeve fitting perfect the size of the armhole, you can do the following. Once you cut your sleeve, give a basting stitch in the top part of the curve and leave long ends of the thread at the beginning and the end of the stitch. Then proceed to close the sleeve, obviously stitching by this line. Also close the armhole by stitching obviously the shoulders and the sides of the garment. Put the sleeve inside of the armhole in this way, matching the right sides of the fabric. The wrong side of the fabric is obviously outside in this case, as I am showing you in this diagram. In the top part, the point A is that you have to match the center of the top curve of the sleeve, exactly the center, with the shoulder seam. Then gather a bead, using the basting stitch, pulling the threads until you fit the sleeve perfectly into the armhole. Secure it with pins and then proceed to stitch it as I am showing you here, and in this way your sleeve and your armhole will fit perfectly. Don't worry, you are not going to get many gathers in the top of your sleeve. It won't look as a puff sleeve or anything. This is only to match those 2 centimeters we have extra. That is nothing. So actually this is the professional way to stitch a sleeve to make it look perfect and also to allow the movement of the arm which you are wearing the garment. So now you know how to make your sleeve pattern depending on the armhole curve you have in your top patterns. Once you know that, you need to decide or identify the type of the cap sleeve you need for your garment. The cap sleeve is this portion over here, the curve, the top curve of the sleeve, we call it sleeve cap, and it can be higher, medium, or shorter depending on the garment you want to make. If you are going to make a garment that needs a nice drop of the sleeve, for example, jackets and some dresses with the shape of a sleeve like this, work with a long sleeve cap. If you remember, for our basic pattern, we use 2/3 parts of this line. So this cap of your sleeve, it will be perfect for these garments. You can You can make it longer by 2 centimeters if you want, but not more than that. Now, if you are making a garment, for example, a t-shirt or a blouse or a shirt, more casual, you are going to need a shorter sleeve cap that allows you to move your arm freely. And for that, you need a medium size of the cap of your sleeve. So for that, we are going to use, actually this is as you wish. Suppose this is your front pattern, always measure this in the front pattern. Imagine where you want your cap and then you can decide if the longer one is 2/3 parts or 2/3 parts and a half. A shorter one, maybe it will be 1/3 part and a half of the next one. Now, if you need a garment that allows you a really high range of movement of your arm, or a sari blouse, for example, or a very tight and short sleeve, you need to make a very short cap of your sleeve. For that, we are going to use 1/3 part of this line as your cap length. In any case, you can decide the length of the cap of your sleeve depending on the needs and the design of the garment you want to make. Now, with working with really short cap sleeves, something like this, for example, we know already that we need to match the armhole length in total with the length of the curve of our sleeve. In this case, probably it will not match because I don't have enough space here to make it fit. It will be shorter, probably. In that case, do the following when tracing your sleeve pattern. In this case, we need to trace the full sleeve instead of the half pattern. So trace a vertical line and then square a line to both sides of the central line, to here and here. This will be the top line of your sleeve. Then from here to here, set the length of the cap you want, and from here to here, set the length of the sleeve you want. In this point, trace a line. Mark 1 centimeter here and 1 centimeter here. And from there, mark a line, measure a line wherever it touches the baseline of the cap to this side. The main point is this segment is equal to the front armhole, because this is the front of our sleeve. Now divided by 3, this third divided by half, and we know we have to go up here by 2 centimeters and here by 1 centimeter. So considering that, trace the curve in this way. And now the same for the back part of the sleeve. Trace a line starting from here, mark it, wherever it touches the baseline, this segment, it has to match with the back armhole. And repeat the process. Mark here, third parts, here this part in half, and this time mark, because we need it to be higher, by half centimeter, so mark half centimeter here, half centimeter here, and 2 centimeters and a half here, and trace the curve of the back. Then trace the baseline of the sleeve, mark here the contour you need, if it's a short sleeve, the contour of your arm, and join these points to finish your sleeve. Probably you will get a small difference also, but as we saw before, that helps us to stitch the sleeve better, or in any case you want to solve it, we saw already also how to solve it. And there you have it, your perfect sleeve pattern. If you have any doubt, please tell me in a comment in this video and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also check the description box below this video, because there I will give you more information and a link to my blog to find everything you need to make a perfect sleeve while pattern making or stitching. Thank you so much for watching this video. I will see you soon and happy stitches for everyone.